everything about Kazakh tea. Kese or piala. Can I have some more? This is the best drink ever. So today we're going to dive deeper into Kazakh culture and learn about the most important tradition that we have in every household in Kazakhstan is drinking Kazakh tea. But not any tea. There's certain rules and certain traditions with this ceremony of drinking Kazakh tea, and I'm going to show you everything about it, how to make it, what to drink it with, and how we usually do that with our families. So let's begin. So drinking tea is a very old tradition in Kazakh culture, and we usually do that over gatherings with family, and that would mean that we have a lot of conversations, we love to sing, and back in the old days, we would actually, because we were nomadic, we would have a lot of guests who were traveling from different places and countries, and they would stay over at our places because there weren't any hotels, as I said before in my videos, and those people would stay with us and we would share tea, share a lot of food with them, and over those tea sessions we would talk about different news in the world, but also, share our stories and sing. There was a lot of singing, and we loved, playing dombra, our national instrument. We love singing to it, we love drinking tea with it, and when we come together with for example, with my whole family, we can actually drink about 15 liters of tea because that's just the tradition, and you can just go back and forth and drink 5 different cups of tea, and that would be normal. There's a lot of social aspect to drinking Kazakh tea, and people actually get addicted to that kind of tea, not just because it's very pleasing to talk to your relatives and your friends, but also there's some caffeine in the tea, in the black tea that we drink, and we usually drink that with milk, but I'm gonna share that later. And for example, my mom or my grandmother, they would just be coming from some kind of event, and they would be like, oh my god, I need to drink some tea right away because I'm so tired, and once they sip the tea, they're just in heaven. They're like, oh, I don't need anything else, this is the best drink ever. So it has some addictive properties to it, but not too much. It does remind us of masala tea, but without all the spices, if you know what I mean. But also it's a very meaningful tradition because tea makes people come together and people unite over tea, because there's actually a saying which I'm gonna share with you later, but when everything is done, when you have your guests, you drink some tea with them, and when they leave, everyone who stays in the house, they're like, oh my god, let's just get some tea by ourselves. And that's a very, funny meme kind of thing in Kazakh culture, because people just love that kind of bonding that happens over tea, and that means you and I are in that circle that nobody's allowed to be in, and we just 2 of us are gonna drink the tea, something like that. But that's very fun and very cool tradition I think we have. Some families don't do that. A lot of families that there's Russian culture, there's German people in Kazakhstan, but they don't drink tea as much. But for us it's having dinner every night. For us it's uniting the family, bonding time, so it's very important for us. Now we finally have everything ready to start drinking tea, and we're not done yet because there's some kind of secret to how you actually pour the tea with milk, and I'm going to show you how. You first start by having this kind of milk, which is 10% milk. Usually the fatter your milk is, the better for the tea, because it's going to have that beautiful color when you add some black tea to it. Let me tell you a little bit more about what kind of cups we use, because they're very special and they are kind of secret of this tradition and this ceremony. For our tea ceremony, we have these types of cups. They're called kese or piala, and they're kind of half of a circle. The reason why we have them is because once you pour hot tea to it, the temperature is not that hot, because it gets cool very fast and you can start drinking right away. But also we pour very little tea so that we maintain that type of hot temperature of the tea. And also there's another aspect to it. From the hospitality side, from our culture side, we show to our guests that we want the person to stay as much as possible, and we don't want that person to get full very fast. That's why we pour just a little bit tea, so that we keep pouring the tea, he keeps staying at the house, we talk and we bond. Can I have some more? For me, I would be lazy to, pour 15 times just a little bit of tea. I would rather, take the full cup and like pour it to the very edges of the cup. But that's considered very rude in our culture. And if you come to someone's house, they would usually pour just a little bit of tea, and they would expect you to bring your cup to them every time you finish your tea. And that's kind of nice culture, nice hospitality, showing you that you are a very dear guest to them and they respect you very much. So the whole process of preparing Kazakh tea starts with boiling the water, and usually we use filtered water if you have a filter, or you buy filtered water at a store. So yeah, you pour the water and then you take your kettle specifically for brewing tea, and usually we have a separate kettle for that. The more tea you put into the kettle, the better tea is gonna turn out. So that's why I usually use like 4 spoons of tea into the kettle and pour it over with hot water. And then we take that kettle with the tea and the hot water, and we bring it to boil separately on the stove. So we put the stove to the highest measure and we put the kettle onto it, and it starts brewing, it starts boiling, and once it does that, we take it off the stove. That way the tea becomes the very beautiful color. So the leaves actually give everything they have basically into the water. So yeah, and all the good stuff from the tea transfers into the water that we brewed, and it's ready for us to start drinking. Okay, so how we start pouring the tea is another secret. So we take our piala or kese, and first we pour the milk, and we pour not too little but not too much either, like this much. And then we pour all the way our brewed tea. So here's the beautiful color that it turns to. We pour just a little bit at the bottom of the cup, so for you to drink it very hot, but also drink it very fast so that we can pour you some more tea again. Once you have that tea, you can drink it with all the different sweets that are usually on the table. And for Kazakhs, it is a tradition for them to have the table full of things to be drinking tea with. It could be, baursaki, which is our favorite bread, and we have some dried apricots here. We have some peanut covered with sugar. There's our favorite chocolate called Kazakhstan, and some cookies from our popular factory of sweets called Rahat. Obviously you're not going to finish it in one sitting, but it's always nice to have a lot of options in front of you. So another tip that I have for you to make the Kazakh tea is actually, if you don't have a kettle that you can actually put on a stove, you can just pour back and forth the water so that the tea brews very well. And that's actually what some people do. For example, they pour some water to a kese and they pour it back, and because it flows back and forth, it starts brewing better and faster. So you might see, when you go to a Kazakh house, you might see that kind of action going on, and don't think that they're washing your cup. They're just brewing tea basically. Why did you wash my cup 3 times? Hope you come visit and you have that tea here, and if you don't, you can make that at home, which I showed you how to do. And yeah, bon appetit. And as I said before, we have that phrase called "Al Enduvizn Shai Shake," which means we're gonna have some tea without you guys. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye. So let's start. Thank you. If you want to learn about coronavirus in Kazakhstan, here's a video for you. And if you want to see what apartment I live in currently, you can click here.